commence with this Madison Water District
Listen up!
trustees meeting, September 4th, 2025, 6 p.m. at the Old Point School. This public hearing is regarding the Madison Water District rate case. At this time, we'd like to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, folks, to this rate case, and first of all, I'd like to introduce you to the trustees. On the board to my right is Gary Anderson. He is from Anson. I'm Randy Turner. I'm also from Anson. Jeff Lloyd, he's from Madison, and Jack Lusham is also from Madison. We have Daphne Paulette from Maine Rural Water, Kirsten Hebert, and Eric Nystrom. At this time, we would like to turn the floor over to Mr. Jim Lord. Excuse me, this is Jim Lord, who works for Derigo Engineering, and he is going to be our moderator / he's going to be doing the presentation for us. Please hold your questions to less than a minute. It looks like we got quite a crowd here tonight, so and be cordial to Jim.
Evening, everybody. I have an opening statement that I'm going to read first, and then we'll jump into a presentation. So we'll start with that. So for the purpose of tonight's hearing is to provide information concerning the proposed rate increase of the Anson and Madison Water District and allow customers and the public advocate to testify and ask questions. This hearing is held pursuant to 35-A, Maine Revised Statute, Section 6104, and Section 7B, 3, and Chapter 120 of the Maine Public Utilities Commission Regulations. A notice of the public hearing was published in the Kennebec Journal, Morning Sentinel, on August 19, 2025, and individual notices were mailed to each customer of the district by August 14, 2025. After taking comments and questions from you at tonight's hearing, the district will consider all comments and will, within 30 days, be filing a formal rate schedule with the Public Utilities Commission. The formal rate filing by the district may be investigated by the Public Utilities Commission in accordance with 35A MRS Section 6104. The Maine Public Utilities Commission has taken no position and has made no determination concerning the proposed rate increase. Pursuant to 35A MRS Section 3, a customer has the right to request additional information relating to the present and proposed rates from the district, the right to an open and fair hearing, and the right to assistance from the public advocate. Customers also have the right under 35A MRS Sections 3, 4, 7, and 8 to petition to the Maine Public Utilities Commission to suspend and investigate the district's rates pursuant to 35A MRSA Section 310 if, on or before October 5th, 2025, 265 of the district's customers, 15% of the customers, or 1,000 customers, whichever is less, file with Maine Rural Water Association, the Anson and Madison Water District, P.O. Box 293, Richmond, Maine 04357, and with the Public Utilities Commission, care of Administrative Director, State House Station Number 18, Augusta, Maine 04333-0018. A petition or petitions demanding review by the PUC of the proposed rate changes. Signatures on the petition filed pursuant to Section 7 are invalid unless accompanied by the printed names and addresses of the signers. Upon request, the district will provide customers with the petition forms that include space for the signatures and the printed names and addresses of the signers. Daphne, do you need to read the second page through there? Was that?
That was just for you, just notes for you.
Okay. That's the formal statement. What we're going to hope to do here tonight is explain to you why we believe this proposed rate increase is justified, why it is needed. I will do that to the best of my ability to explain a little bit of the history of the district, the composition of the district, some of the projects that we have accomplished in recent years and past years, some of the things we're up against as a public utility as well as the industry. And I'll do that through this, and again, I hope to explain this to the best I can. If we have questions, like Randy said, if we can save it to the end, I'll try to get through this quickly and then give you guys as much time to ask questions, and we'll do the best we can to answer them. My name is Jim Lord. I am with Dirigo Engineering, and we have been doing the engineering for the Anson-Madison Water District for a long time. We are very familiar with this system, which is one of the reasons they asked me to be here tonight to present. So let's talk about the system overview. I don't know how many people know what we have for a system here. You have one source, and that is Hancock Pond way up in Emden. From Hancock Pond, there's about 2 miles of a raw water transmission main that flows through the woods down to the water treatment plant where you filter the water. You also chlorinate the water for disinfection. Then you have a finished water transmission main that is about 11 miles long, 16-inch pipe that runs all the way down to Anson and Madison. You have 37 miles of distribution piping throughout Anson, Madison, Emden, North Anson. You have 3 water storage facilities. You have a flow control station, a booster pump station on 148 in Ellis Flats. You have an office in Madison. You have an annex in North Anson. You have a booster station in East Madison that serves the jail. You have about 1,700 customers. It's a big system, and there's a lot of assets there. This system, the Madison Water District, started as the Madison Water Company. They began serving water to the towns of Anson and Madison in 1887. We'll talk about this a little further, but this pipe just came out of Main Street by Schuster Road. It was installed in 1887. By 1915, both water companies became incorporated as the Anson Water District and the Madison Water District, respectively. That same year, the Anson Water District began serving customers in Anson. In 1915, Hancock Pond became the primary source, and the district constructed a dam on Hancock Pond to maintain pond level. By 1923, that dam was enlarged to improve flow control and pressure to the communities. In 1949, the 2 districts were granted rights to operate the system as a joint enterprise and share costs proportionally. So, why Hancock Pond? And this is still important today. Hancock Pond is a great source for surface water. It's a very clean source. And when you have a system this big, you need a lot of water. It's pretty hard to get out of a well unless you have a very good aquifer. And before the treatment plant was built, actually, in the 1990s, we did look for water. The district did look for water, groundwater, in Anson, in Madison, and no favorable sites were found. So we've stuck with Hancock Pond. The other thing that Hancock Pond gives us, and you pushing through that for me? Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I've lost sight of that. Its elevation is about 538 feet, and that allows us to serve initially the entire system, Anson, Madison, Emden, by gravity, no pumps. There were no pumps in this system until the East Madison booster, not East Madison, the Business Park booster station was installed to push water up into the tank on 148. That's a big deal for energy savings and maintenance. So in modern history, you're ahead of me. From 1949 through 2012, the district works independently, but collectively making meaningful improvements to the water system. There was joint facilities, reservoirs, the treatment plant, the intake, the transmission main were considered joint assets that each would contribute financially based on customer base until the districts merged in 2012. Once the treatment plant was constructed, the districts worked together and alternated weeks to maintain those assets, 1 week on, 1 week off. And that worked well for several years. So, one of the big reasons we're here tonight, and we'll get into some of the details of this, is the projects that have been completed. This is a list of projects that this district, the Anson Water District, the Madison Water District, and now the Anson and Madison Water District have completed in the last 50 years. And it's considerable, and they're all critical. If you want to go to the next page. So I'm going to provide a couple of maps really quickly, because to try to go through that whole list would be ridiculous. And I'll try to show you on this map. So this is a full system map, from Hancock Pond all the way down to North Anson, Anson and Madison. And this black and white dotted line, and some of this is work that's under construction now. This piece right here is under construction. But these are all water mains that the district has upgraded in the last 50 years. You want to go to the next one, Kirsten? So this is North Anson. All of these water mains have been replaced. The control valve building's been built, and the North Anson Annex has been upgraded. Anson and Madison, the new reservoir on Hilltop, all of these water mains have been replaced. The Madison Booster Station has been constructed, and the standpipe's been constructed on Route 148. So why so many projects? Meet health and safety standards. The Safe Drinking Water Act required the construction of the treatment plant. Changing in regulations, disinfectant byproducts made us convert to chloramines back in 2012. Improve system hydraulics, improve emergency storage and fire protection, and age-related deterioration. Assets wear out, and you have a lot of assets. The Anson and Madison Water District, the majority of capital expenses in the system have been pipe replacement. As you can see, all the pipes were replaced. Most of the pipes we use are considered 75 to 100-year pipes. So we as an engineering community recommend, and the utilities accept, that if you can replace 1% of pipe per year, you're going to maintain all your pipes at less than 100-year-old. So you're going to stay within that design life of most pipes. So that's the target. So sometimes you do a little every year, sometimes people do a big project every 5 years. It depends on the particular situation. But that's what we try to do. And this system was built with a considerable amount of unlined cast iron pipe. And it was joined with leaded joints. You would put oakum in the joints, and then they would put lead around to seal the joint. And there would be a leaded gooseneck and all those things that was constructed. So all those things have been we're trying to replace all of those, get rid of the old unlined cast iron pipe, which is prone to corrosion, internal tuberculation, and breaks. Run through a few pictures. So these are some of the pipes that have been replaced in this system over the years. Just keep going through this pretty quickly. This is a hole that was developed that was losing a lot of water. This is external corrosion. It's pretty tough to repair that when there's a break or a leak. There's another section of that. This is that joint right there, like I said, that came out of Main Street at Schuster Road just about a month ago, and was still active until last year. So today, I've got a couple of pie charts here that show where we're at as a system today. This biggest blue section is ductile iron. That is pipe that is fairly new. That is what we install most of the time today. It's double cement line, ductile iron, it's coated on the outside. Orange is cast iron. So you've got about 21% of your system is still old cast iron pipe, and that is on our target plans as we move forward. The gray over here, 21%, is high-density polyethylene and PVC, both plastic, both newer pipes. So as you can see right here, you've got about 75% of your system is newer pipe. And then we've got a little bit of transite pipe in the system. So this is based on age. So this 49% is all pipe in your system that's less than 25 years old. And then the orange, 21%, again, is 25 to 50 years old. So you, again, 75% of your system is less than 50 years old. And that's a very good thing and a very good place to be. So how have we gotten here? All of these projects require money, right? And so this, since 1999, is all the funding that the district has received to accomplish this work. Most of it has come from the USDA, Rural Development, and some through the Drinking Water Program, DHHS, and the Maine Municipal Bond Bank. And I'll just summarize some of this. You can see the origination date of all of these projects, the loan amount, the grant amount. So over that time period, the districts received $9.2 million of grants. And of the loan portions of that, the average loan rate is 1.94% interest rate. Some of them are 0% interest rate. So, state and federal funding. Public utilities, sewer, water. They fund their improvements typically through loans and grants. The USDA, the SRF program, CDBG is a grant program for public utilities, towns. The USDA offers grants and low-interest loans, and the SRF program does the same thing because they're subsidized with federal monies. So public water systems and sewer systems utilize these funding sources to help get grant money to keep low-interest loans below what your commercial rates would be. And so water rates. So one of the reason we're here tonight is water rates, right? So what do your water rates pay for? What are they going to? They're going to operations and maintenance, staff, salaries and wages, training, licensing, insurance, power and heat for facilities, chemicals, capital improvements, and debt service, right? You guys have loans, you have debt service. So the rates, this is what you're paying for. So this is a history of the Anson and Madison Water District's rates. Since 2012, when the districts merged, it became the Anson-Madison Water District. So in 2012, the rate, minimum charge was $72.55 for 1,200 cubic feet with an overage of $2.17. That would be $292.20 if you use 1,200 cubic feet a quarter. Today, that number is going up. And what you can see is the interest, there's been a number of rate increases. One in 2018 at 15%, one in 2020 for 3%, 21 for 3%, and 24 for 1.5%. And this proposed rate of about 48%. So, one of the things I want you to understand is those rates were behind often throughout. So if you looked at just inflation over that period, no projects, no capital improvements, just inflation. At the end of 2024, December 1st, for 1,200 cubic feet, you were paying $360. For the $290 in 2012 inflation, you would have paid $396. You were $36 below inflation at the end of last year. The district was losing money. Just by inflation, not doing any of the projects. So there is a big jump this year. The proposed rate takes us to $532 for that same amount of water, whereas based on the consumer price index, you would be at 408. So you are now ahead of inflation. Why? Because of the projects we've done. So the three big most recent projects. In 2020, we completed the intake and the raw water transmission project. We changed the whole intake in Hancock Pond. We changed 8,500 feet of pipe from Hancock Pond all the way to the treatment plant, which was through the woods. We had to build a temporary road. We put in all new 16-inch pipe all the way down through there. The district got $1.5 million worth of grant in that, and there's an annual debt service of $77,000 on that, which started in 2022. The Main Street Ellis Flats project that just happened last year, as you all know. The district got 70% principal forgiveness from the SRF program to do that. And I don't know who knows why that happened, but I'll explain what happened there. So that water main right there was installed in 1887. And it's still today, or as of last year, was serving almost every customer along Main Street. It served 5 street laterals: Maxim Street, South Main Street, Schuster Road. A few other streets were still connected to this whole pipe. In 1986, when the high school, currently there, started construction, the Department of Labor paid for a 12-inch ductile iron water main to be run out to the high school. There's a 12-inch ductile iron main there that is just 40 years old. We connected all of those services and all of those side streets to that 12-inch ductile iron pipe so we can abandon this old pipe. So we abandoned about 1.5 miles of old, unlined cast iron pipe that's fully tuberculated. Every time there was a break out there, and I think they were happening about twice a year for the last number of years, to the tune of $20,000 a repair, plus or minus. There's still a little bit of that's on our capital improvements plan to replace as we move forward. Then the big one, right? We're doing the finished water transmission main right now. In 2015, this district began investigating its system. And the transmission main from Hancock Pond to the distribution area is your only way to convey water to the major customers, to the majority of customers. It's one pipe. It is a major critical asset. Since that pipe was initially installed, the DOT has rebuilt sections of those roads. There's pieces of that pipe that were 15 feet deep that the district had no way to access without hiring a contractor. The raw water piece from the part of the finished water piece from the ammonia building up to Hancock Pond was in a fully wooded area. There was no way to access that without cutting trees. If it was in the middle of winter, it would take considerable effort to get to that. So it was decided that it was incredibly critical, it was very vulnerable, and the risk and consequence of failure were very great. So the district began applying for loans and grants back in 2015 to start replacing this transmission main. And they did it in segments. And so through 2021, they had replaced all the way from the reservoir to North Anson. They'd replaced the intake and they'd replaced the raw water transmission main. At that point, interest rates dropped to the bottom, historic lows. And so this board considered at great length to apply for funding to do the rest of the transmission main. Knowing when we applied, we weren't obligated to anything, but we wanted to see what the USDA would offer to take advantage of low interest rates. Well, it came with an offer for a $9.5 million job, of $3.5 million worth of grant, and the loan of 1.25%. It's a pretty impressive funding package to get this done. The district trustees met several times, discussed the options, went back to the USDA, asked questions, and in the end decided that the risk and consequence of failure to that asset was so great that accepting that award, that offer, and proceeding with the project was in the best interest of the district. And I'll say this right now, they knew at the time, everybody knew at the time, interest rates weren't going to stay low forever. They just don't. And so I'd like you all to know that the $6 million loan portion on this, which is the biggest piece of why we're here tonight, at 1.25% interest is about $1.6 million in interest over the life of the loan. If that had been 3.5%, that would be $5.3 million in interim interest. And if it was 5%, which is similar to what it would be today, it would be 7.9%, $7.9 million you'd be paying back in just interest. You're paying back $1.6 million because of the 1.25% interest. So what are the proposed rates? You've seen them all. They've been in petitions. I'm not going to... this is just a summary of your residential rates and the public fire protection down below. So how does that look to everybody? Currently, this is what your current rates are for 1,200 cubic feet, which is about 9,000 gallons. For those of you who don't know it, we all see cubic feet everywhere. So 1,200 cubic feet is 9,000 gallons. That's your minimum allowable per quarter. So that's $90.08 right now, and the proposed rate is going to go to $133.11. So what does that mean? It does. It means it's going up. There's no question about that. So what it means for an average family of 2 people, based on the average usage, the EPA says that a family of 2 would use about 160 gallons a day, which is about 58,000 gallons a year. And a family of 4 is going to use around 320 gallons a day, which is about 117,000 gallons a year. So that family of 2, under the current rates, would pay $446 a year. Under the proposed rates, it'll be $687. It's an increase of $241. For a family of 4, they pay $651 a year. Now they'll pay just over $1,000 a year, an increase of about $400 a year. It's a big increase. Nobody here is hiding that fact. That's reality. But the reality is, you're paying less than 2 cents a gallon for your water. Less than 2 cents a gallon. So what's next? So the district developed in 2022 a master plan. They needed to understand where we were at financially, what projects needed to happen, so that we can start tracking projects as we retire debt service, so we can sustain the improvements that we've made, and we can sustain this financially. So, of that master plan, there was some improvements that were recommended. There's still some pipes that need to be replaced, 140-year-old pipes. There's age-related assets. The booster pump station in the business park needs to be upgraded. The treatment plant's going to need some upgrades. There are valves, there are controls, there are electrical components that need to be upgraded as time goes on. So this is a list of those projects, which over 20 years was estimated to be about $6 million. So once we identify that, we predict how we prioritize this work. And so that master plan then looked at when we were going to be retiring future debt. And probably the biggest one, so this is all your current debt, and this is the years that it retires in, and this is your annual principal and interest payments. So in 2032, you're going to retire $231,000 worth of debt. So a lot of the improvements that you saw in that 20-year master plan are going to come after that. So we can balance new debt service with what you're going to be retiring, so we don't have to come back here for these major rate increases. If you can see right now, I just want to point out that 3.7% interest on that $3.5 million loan is $231,000 a year. The $6 million loan we just got for the raw water transmission main is $191,000 a year. The offer was fantastic. The amount of work that's going to be done, the primary asset is going to be replaced and renewed. And again, moving forward, this district has made it a priority to balance improvements as debt gets retired to the greatest extent practical. Things happen sometimes, and major maintenance problems have to happen, and this breaks down and that breaks down, it happens. But we are targeted to balance new projects as debt is retired as we move forward. The transmission main, like I said, which is the biggest asset for the district, will be fully replaced from the source all the way to the distribution centers. The treatment plant is in fairly good condition. It does have some things it needs. So you're in really good shape as a system, but this is where we're at. I hope I've done a good job explaining to you what you have for a water system, what you've done to improve that water system, where you stand today, and why we are where we are financially. And I can do the best I can to answer any questions at this point, and if I can't answer them, the board and the Maine Rural Water maybe can, but feel free to ask me questions. I would ask this, if you raise your hand, I will ask you what your name is so we can log your name and the question, which is part of the requirements by the PUC, so I would ask you to do that. So, questions, please. Yes, sir.
Phil Turner, I got a question. I think it's very relevant to this whole thing. March town meeting in Anson, we voted $145,000 for fire protection. From what I understand, Madison pays more than that, about twice that. In your letter that you sent us, it says you get $109,000 for fire protection. Where's the other $325,000? Somebody pocketing it, like Maine Rural Water?
Want the answer? It's a 109,000 increase, Jim.
Yes, I would say that if you look at the packet, there's a lot of details in there about where all of the money goes to. Power, salaries, insurances, assets, debt service, it's all allocated. Nobody's walking away with that money.
So the rates we pay doesn't cover that? Where does the money go for the rates that we pay? I pay $90 a quart. I'm sure
It
there's
gets
others.
combined with the rates that the town pays for hydrants, for fire protection. It all goes into the revenue pocket, and then all gets spent for asset replacement, for, like I said, insurances, operations and maintenance. And it's all in there. The district gets audited every year. There's an audit that shows where all revenue comes and shows where all expenses go. And this proposed rate increase has all that information as well. I can't detail where it all goes, right now. It would take a while, but it is all in the information that was provided.
Sarah Schmidt, I'm just wondering why, if I'm a single person living in Anson, my rate's gonna go up 48% and I'm using less than a two-person household.
Everyone's goes up 48%, and this is
That
how,
seems kind of outrageous, don't you think? For a single person, going up 48%, I'm using less than a friggin' couple is. Walk all
the
you
way
want,
the rate
but-
is structured,
Yeah,
there's a minimum, right? It's not based on how many people live in your household. There is a
why am I
certain,
getting charged 48% more than I was last month?
because the cost of the system have gone up 48%, which is why the revenue has to go up 48% to pay those costs. And so
What if you live
the
on
reason there's a
disability and
minimum,
can't afford it?
the reason we have a minimum is to pay the capital improvements, the debt service, to pay the assets, to have them in place for when you need them, and then the overage costs and other things are used to pay fluctuations and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong there on anything, but this is why we have a base minimum. It's based on how many live in a household. It's simply based on the fact that the district needs to collect a certain minimum, knowing that there's gonna be a certain overage, and they balance those to the best of their ability to keep that minimum to where they need it, but without going over what's needed. The best of my ability to answer that.
Well, if you're just a single person and you're still gonna get charged for a two-person household, it seems a bit excessive. I mean, two people living in a household, I understand.
I gave the 2 people and the 4 people as an example of how much you use. It really has nothing to do with how many people live in a household. It just doesn't.
Then why am I getting charged 48% more than I was last time, and I'm only one person? Makes no sense.
I'm not understanding.
But the expenses have gone up 48%, which is why the revenue has to go up 40%,
I'm
48%.
on disability and can't afford $133 a month or every quarter. How do you explain that one?
Yeah.
Any remedies
To
for that?
peel it down to its basic, it boils down to 50 cents a day. What was it per gallon cost, Jim, you said?
2 cents.
Less than 2 cents.
Less than 2 cents a gallon. I realize it's a dramatic increase,
You think?
but when you step back away from it and look at what you're getting, and failure is not an option. Like Jim said, we got this one transmission main coming from, not Emden Pond, but Hancock Pond, thank you. And that's the only way to get water to this system. So failure is not an option. We had to do these improvements. And if you look at the rates that we're paying, the lending institutions, 1.5%, I mean, I'd like to have some of that action myself. So I understand your situation, but when you pare it down, 50 cents a day is what it costs.
Do you understand my situation?
I understand what you're saying. I can't say I can relate to it, but I understand it.
Because when you're on limited income, $133 a quarter is not something you can just pull out of the hat.
Yeah, but and to answer your question about the minimum, the 1,200 cubic foot minimum, that hasn't changed. It's always been that 1,200 cubic foot minimum. So if you've got one person using the 1,200 cubic feet, or if you've got 10 people using the 1,200 cubic feet, it is what it is.
But
That's the
why
base.
does it go up 48%?
I think Jim did a wonderful job explaining exactly why.
Partly
All those
because,
capital improvements, and a portion of them were mandated, had to be done. And if we have to do it, I think, and I wasn't on the board when that decision was made, but I commend the board members that were and that did that, to get that huge grant and the 1.5% loan to do that project. It saved this district a fortune. And we knew that there was gonna be a lot of questions here, and I think this lady asked me, she says, I wanna know what my money's buying, and I think your answer was in that presentation. I hope it was.
next question? Yes, sir?
Tim Nichols, I want to know how you guys got around the increasing rate when the state law says you can only increase by 1.5% every 11 months.
Great question.
Right there. Black and white.
That's you, Kirsten.
Yep,
State law.
I'll tackle that one. So
question.
that pertains specifically to municipalities. The district is a quasi-municipal entity that is separate and distinct from the town. Their budget, their expenses are not regulated by that statute.
Really?
Correct.
So we're all gonna sign a petition that we want this to go in front of the PUC, so, and have a town vote. That's what it needs to happen, is this needs to be voted on by the people of the town, not just a board sitting up there saying, we're gonna jump your rate 50%.
Thank you.
So let me help explain how that works. So if the district has the requisite number of signatures for the petition, that will go to the Public Utility Commission. The Public Utility Commission will suspend the rates, but it at no point in time goes to the town for a vote. That would be an investigation. It can. It cannot. So it would go before the Public Utility Commission. The PUC will investigate. They will determine if the rates are reasonable and just. They will look at the expenses. They will look at the budget. They will look at your debt service. And then they can wiggle with the rates, but ultimately the Public Utility Commission is going to allow this district to have the money it needs to cover its expenses. And I would also submit, this district did not include a full depreciation that it has statutory authority to take. It is very possible that the Public Utility Commission could say, you've short-sheeted yourself. You've not taken enough money to be able to move forward in a successful fashion. So they could actually have a higher rate when it was done at a petition.
So they're gonna pick our pockets, basically, like they're doing now.
Just like CMP.
Right, just like CMP,
Yep.
just like all the rest of the utilities.
I resent that assertion, sir.
What if I
We're not
want-
picking anybody's pocket. We're trying to do the best for the ratepayers here. If you looked at the percentages of increase over the years, what's happening is this can's been getting kicked down the road because nobody wanted to pass on increases to the ratepayers. Well, you know, it should be 15%, it should be 25%. Well, it's 3%. We haven't even kept up with inflation.
Didn't you
and-
guys
and the-
already take bonds and loans to pay for all that already?
Yeah, but you have to
That's
pay
it,
those
we
back.
gotta pay them back.
That's why
You
you
gotta pay it
pay.
back.
This district has been extremely successful in securing a high percentage of grant funds because when these agencies, the USDA, the SRF program, reviews applications, they look at median household income for the service area, they look at poverty rate, they look at unemployment rate, they look at what you're paying for rates, they look at your assets, they look at the big picture. They understand this is a poor region. They fully understand that, which is why you've secured so much in grant and so much in low-interest loans.
Jim, maybe you should go back to that slide you had that shows them the debt and really point out what amount of debt they have right now. I mean, debt, and I mean loans,
This one here is the one you were
Yep.
talking
Is this
about,
what
yeah.
you want?
and how much grant money you've received.
Okay, all right, so that would
Is that in the handout?
No,
be the previous
It's
one.
not.
Because I
I'd
can't
like
see
a
If we
that.
copy
show
of
the
all
grants,
that
it would be on the
that you
table.
guys got up there.
I can't see that.
I don't have it either.
Well, make them.
Yeah, please.
Hey, would you like one of those, sir?
What?
Would you like a copy of that?
Yes, I would.
So would
I
I.
would be glad to provide you with that, if you just asked me like a reasonable person.
I did, I just
So,
said.
we'll make sure you get it.
I'd like a copy of that.
Since 1999, capital projects this district has accomplished has been about $28 million. 9.2 of that's grant money.
My name is Dan Tucker. I had other questions till I came in here and we started listening to this other things. And what you had said about the increases that happened, I think it was from 2020
Yep.
to 2021, 23, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
And you're only doing 1% there. And now you're gonna wait till now and hit us all with a 48%. Why was that increase back then only at 1%? Were any of you on the board at this time? May I ask? You were on the board.
I've been on
Why-
board for 20-some odd years.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Well, my question is why, you had to know these things were coming. You already know that the age of the infrastructure that you had in place. Why would you not try to have increased it more than 1 or 3% a few years ago? You had to know that this kind of situation was going to come. I think it would have been a lot easier for everybody to swallow had you given a little more increase there throughout the last few years to take a little edge off the bite instead of all at one time when everything has exploded. When you go to Walmart or or Hannaford, and you come out with one bag and it's cost you $78, and just like that gentleman back there on limited income, there's people out here that's on Social Security, SSDI, because they got hurt, can't work, on limited income. It would have been a lot easier, and I don't understand why you didn't increase that by 10% or 15 back then to edge it up instead of waiting until now and say, you know what? Well, we're really hurting, now we don't have a choice, let's do 48%. Can you explain to me why that was,
Why that happened?
why that happened, right?
I can tell you that this last one is a substantial, this is the largest, money that we have to pay back, $6 million.
Part of it is, that's exactly correct. So there's $191,000 of principal and interest, plus there's a reserve of 10% of that. So you're talking $210,000 of annual debt service that will kick in 1 year from the date when we close that loan. That is not ready yet. So this rate has to be in place 1 year before that debt service payment is due. So that is why this is the biggest increase. Also the Main Street job. So those two capital improvement projects are kicking in, which is why we have to go through this big rate increase. The other thing is, I think this district has been working for several years to really figure out what it needed, what it had. There was a lot of information that has not been available, that has been taking a long time to sort through, that they have and they have sorted through, which is another reason we are here today. They are behind in not the district, but the auditors did not have the information to them. They needed to have past audits. There's a lot of financial information they needed to be able to get to this point, on top of the fact that the capital debt service that'll kick in early 2027,
Okay,
late
but
26.
that kind of doesn't still answer my question, which was the fact that you had rate increases from, like 2020 and up. So why were they so small? You had to have foreseen that you were gonna have to.
Back in 2020, this didn't even exist. We didn't get this loan, we didn't apply for this loan in 22 or 23 or 24.
Correct.
So back then, we didn't even have, that wasn't even on the books. And if you had been in this district long enough to know that prior to 2012, there was the Anson Water District and it was the Madison Water District. It was kind of like the Hatfields and McCoy. Nobody wanted to pay for nothing, okay? So once the district was formed, there was no Anson, there was no Madison, it was our water district, okay? When we formed in 2012, we pulled all of our loans together and we saved almost $1.5 million in interest alone back then. We got grants from the state, $100,000 for just joining from the drinking water program. Just because we joined up, this district has needed to be joined the way it is for a long time. A lot of this debt came after 2012 because we wanted to fix these lines. I don't know about you, but I didn't want to drink through that stuff. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow right there, sir.
I'm not complaining about that. What I'm asking, and it still hasn't been answered yet, I'm not talking back before 2012, I'm talking from 2020. When you made these last three increases at 1 or 1.5%, why were they so low? Why did you not? Because you already knew that's what we were drinking through. You knew that we were going to have to upgrade. So I'm asking, why was it not more then? Why did you just maintain the bare minimum increase instead of going a little more? So it's easier pill to swallow. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, the last three increases could have been 5 or 10%. So today, we're not looking at a 48% increase. We would have been looking at a lesser increase because you had already increased it a little bit and eased into the people and not just all, bam, 48% today.
May I speak?
That's the question I'm asking.
And I understand you 100%, and I agree with you 100%. Dating myself, but I've been in this business for 36 years. I've traveled the state and attended several public hearings, and it's the same thing. Because these group of people do not want to raise your rates because they're thinking of you. Constantly. They're trying to keep rates low as they can, and it hurts them. And
Well, you know,
eventually
hey,
it
well,
does catch up.
It's hurting us more now because
Here's the other thing.
Well, you can
You're-
look at
you're-
it two ways,
excuse
though.
me,
All that
what-
time, that money was in your
Let me
pocket.
finish, sir. Let her talk, please, thank you.
So you can think of it in two ways when you want to. If they've gone up, all that money would have been in the districts, it's been in your pocket all these years instead. They should have gone up, it's a huge hit. The reason it's such a drastic hit is because they're telling you they just borrowed $6 million. That needs to be repaid back. This is where the majority of this rate increase is to pay that $6 million loan back. And should they have gone up? Yes, I agree with you 100%, and I can tell you, I go all over the state, with the same thing, sitting with groups of people, and it's because these people are thinking of you
Okay.
and keeping the rates low. It's not good money management, I agree with you 100%. It should have been, but it wasn't, so here we are now.
Okay, could I ask a question, another question?
Mhm.
When was this project, when did it start coming to play? When did you guys start talking about this project that you borrowed the $6 million bulk?
I'm gonna stop you one
What
more
year was
thing,
that?
though. We can't ask for the rates until we're 1 year out. So even though this project's been going on for 2 years, we're not allowed to raise the rates until 1 year before the anticipated, we're nonprofit, we're quasi-municipal. We can't say, well, we'll make the rates a little high, a little higher 2 years out to take care of what's gonna happen. We can't do that.
Okay.
We can only
Well,
ask
I
for.
appreciate that answer, that's what I've been trying to get out, and
Yep,
I've been
that's fine.
getting before 2012 and everything else, and that's all I wanted was a
And I
straight
said,
answer.
and I said,
You know,
I
that's why I'm
traveled the
trying to
state.
be, I'm not trying to be combative,
No,
I'm
you're
being
great.
pleasant, I'm trying to have an adult conversation.
Understood, yeah.
And all we want here is the truth
Yeah.
and answered truthful to our questions. I'm sure that the rest of the people that's in here and then are not here are like I am. I
Mm-hmm.
can take an ugly truth over a pretty lie any day of the week.
No, and like you said too, you can't come out of Walmart with one bag for $100 now. It's the same for us. Our light bills have increased for all these pump stations. Our chemicals have increased. The shipping costs have increased for the chemicals.
And I understand that, and
It's hugely
I'm not
expensive,
against
yeah.
a rate increase. My
Just wanna
problem
know
was, why did it, I'm just trying to find out why it had to come up and boom, 48%.
Yeah, and I will
right
tell
out
you,
the- right out the
they've
gate.
set many hours. I'm the one who designed your rates. I'm the one who set these rates up. And I want to tell you, I've worked countless hours with these gentlemen. We've done probably, I want to say, at least 10 scenarios of different rates before we finally got them to settle on this. It could be much higher. It could be much higher. But on the depreciation rate, they only took 40% instead of 100%, which is huge. Depreciation, Jeff loves it, I should let him explain it. He argued with me, because we're a nonprofit, we can only ask for what we're going to spend. There's no fluff in this budget. If you notice, they took a reduction of, I don't want to give you the exact figure, around $21,000 to cost normal expenses, to cut back. They've also reduced the depreciation, which, again, we can only ask for what we're going to spend. When these systems and these replacements go in, the district expenses what we call depreciation. It's non-cash outlay. But all that means is it gives them a chance to set aside some funds to replace this in a pump in 20 years without having to go to bank to borrow it. Because we cannot ask for more than what we're spending or what we're budgeting for. So like I said, these group of men have sat for hours, and I've spent hours looking over your books, where can we cut, where can we do it the best we can. It's because of your debt. It's because of your debt. If I go back to 2012 audit to now, the operations has increased, what did I tell, I was telling you, Jen, like
Was
$129,000. That's all the expenses to operate have increased since 2012 to now, which is phenomenal. They've done everything they can to cut. But like I said, it's debt and the price of everything that's gone up. There's no fluff in this budget, no fluff whatsoever. It's a tight budget.
Yes, sir.
Mitchell Quinn, looking at your proposed operating budget for 25-26, $884,000. I don't see any debt service in that, but also I see
It's below.
management fees of $524,000. What are you getting for that money?
You want me to answer? That's main rural water. You get 10 employees, so all your employees, Eric standing here, we have another, Kyle, right? Kyle, we have to remember. Kirsten, myself, we have a team.
It says management fees. I see operating expenses.
That's what it is. That's the management fees. We manage the district, under the guidance of the board of directors. So we have a staff that's all main rural water staff. It's not the Anson-Madison water staff. It's main rural water staff that works for you and for your community. So you do not have the normal health insurances and all those things. You pay one set fee, and instead of just having 5 employees like you used to have, now you have 10, for pretty close to the same amount. There's a little difference. I want to say about $58,000 a year difference, but again, you're doubling your personnel. So all the people that answer the phone when you call, when you make a payment, your bills that you receive, disconnection notices that you receive, that's all being done by us at Maine Rural Water. And that's what this fee covers. Okay? We attend board meetings. This rate case was designed for you. I work with Jim regularly on engineering and grant money, and all these things are done through Maine Rural Water for you. And that's what that fee is.
And the people in the field.
Oh yeah, the people in the field, that's what they're saying, Kyle, Eric, they work at your system every day. They're Maine Rural Water employees.
Yes, sir.
Rodney Gilkey. I'd like to know on Main Street, when they did Main Street, who's the construction outfit that did that?
Mantra Construction.
I tell you what, you gotta find somebody different. They were terrible.
We are required, when you are funded through a state or a federal agency, or even under terms and conditions,
Yeah.
to publicly advertise capital improvements projects. And if the low bidder gets bonded and has not been debarred, there's almost no way to not award to them. Unless you can prove they're not qualified.
You can't always get the low bidder. Get the best bidder, do a better job. Less time.
You want to argue that with the federal government, you have at it. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you.
I'll argue with anybody on that. One day you've been digging up the damn street, doing something, 3 days later, you're digging the same damn hole. Same hole, doing something different. What the hell? How can we afford that shit? It's terrible. I'd rather pay somebody like Lloyd's when they used to do a job. They were on top of things. Oh, these fellas right here, they got the job done, less time, less money.
I'll tell you, Mantra Construction, I think, did a fair job.
Whoa.
They battled groundwater unbelievably. Every trench they dug, groundwater was almost to pavement.
But
It was
Jesus,
filled
why would
with
they
clay.
cover it up and dig it over again.
That's sometimes what you have to do when you connect the main and then you get it tested, because then we've got to test it, then we've got to chlorinate it, then we go back in and connect the taps. Sometimes it is multiple digs in the same spot to get it accomplished.
Okay. I just, Jesus. I don't know, I've been around a long time, I never seen that one did that.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Tammy. I have some questions regarding seasonal bills up to the lake. So my understanding from the very nice boys I speak to in Richmond, they state that our bills go out every 3 months. So with seasonal water, it's from May 1st to October 1st. So my understanding from them, and he confirmed yes, that I will get another bill for 1 day for seasonal water.
Okay, seasonal water now is, you're metered. You're now a metered customer. Before you were based on, your rates were based on fixtures, the amount of fixtures in your home.
Yeah.
Now you're metered like regular customers. So you're considered now a regular customer who's only on seasonal. The rates, I think the water gets shut off on October 15th, or right around that, I want to say Indigenous Peoples' Day, that
It's
week.
like October 1st.
No, they've switched that last year because we had some folks come to a meeting that wanted it to go through the middle of October, after the holiday weekend. So your service won't go off until the middle of October.
Okay.
And your bill, you will not be charged a whole quarter's rate for that. Your bill will be adjusted for whatever cycle you're on to accommodate that. You won't be billed the whole quarter if you're only on for half a month, okay?
Okay, so we're only going to be on for 15 days.
No, you have to pay a full month, because the district doesn't have daily rates.
Okay.
So it'll be the full month of October, but you'll have usage for half, okay? So, yeah, it works out. It does work out fine.
Well, it does, but it doesn't, because,
We don't have a daily rate.
well, I understand that, thank you. But we are only receiving water for 5 months and 15 days.
Mhm.
But we're having to pay 6 months, hold on. We
6
have to pay
months.
6 months and 30 days. So,
Your service is turned on in May,
right. So we
May,
got
June, July, August, September, and October.
That's 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so sorry, you're right.
And you're using it for 5.5.
No, that's 5 months. If we could do May, June,
I don't know
July,
what you're
August,
asking.
September.
You're only billed for May, June, July, August, September, and October. You're billed for 6 months. Service goes on the beginning of April, correct, Eric?
May.
For seasonal? May? May?
That math doesn't math. I'm sorry.
I don't understand what you're asking.
So my question is, so we're paying for the second quarter, the third quarter for water, correct? Because it's turned on.
You might,
We
I don't know
don't
what, okay, I have to apologize. You might be thinking for quarters, and I don't know what cycle you're on. So your first month of a quarter may be May, June, July, and then August, September, October. Might be just 2 quarters.
So you're saying that seasonal water does not go by the normal quarters?
Go by the what?
Kyle, do you know what water is billed for seasonal? What cycle?
I think it's this coming up cycle.
Which is
Cycle 1?
cycle 1?
Cycle 1 or 3? So October, yeah. It depends on the cycle that you're on, but you're not being overbilled. We've been very careful with our seasonal customers to make sure that you're only paying for the months that you're on. So you'll be billed from May through October.
Okay, all right, so these new water meters that were put in,
Mhm.
can they read multiple sources, or does the water meter just read like one camp?
You should only have 1 meter on 1 camp.
Okay, so we have 2 camps, we have 2 water bills. I
Yep,
only
you
have
should.
1 meter.
One's probably still being charged unmetered. I think this was brought up, Matt was just discussing this. The camp that has 2 camps but only 1 meter.
Vaguely, yeah. I think that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, that will be adjusted and you'll be having a installation of a new meter on the second camp.
So so why did I get, I've been paying 2 bills forever. I still am paying 2 bills. I only have 1 meter. So are you saying one of the camps is going by last year?
I can't hear her.
Okay, listen, after the meeting, you can discuss this with these 2 ladies. They'd be more than happy to talk to you about what your situation is. She doesn't have everything right here in front of you to really answer your question.
Okay.
You have a valid question, she just doesn't have the answer.
And Tammy, can I get your last name?
It's RUGH.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Emily Clint. 2 things. First, I'm not sure that the board, how aware the board is of the senior citizens and those on low income, whatever, are dealing. I said, I know people who have their water shut off. They aren't paying you anything. It's shut off. And we have people that go to the cemetery and get drinking water. Now, how long do you think that's gonna go on when this rate goes up? I said, it's gonna get worse instead of better. That's my 2 cents. Secondly, who is it that has the contract for the west shore of Emden and the mess that is up there now?
Nitram Excavation.
Say that again?
Nitram Excavation out of Benton, Maine.
And how much longer is that project supposed to go on?
They are expected to be off West Shore Road with the main this year, by the end of the year, but the project will continue all the way to North Anson next year. So there'll be construction all next summer up there as well. But they should be off West Shore Road. Now, right now what they're doing is they're installing the water main along West Shore Road. They're gonna keep doing water mains, and then they're gonna come back and do services I can't dictate every aspect of their schedule. It's considered means and methods, and I am not allowed to dictate that. So they could choose to go back and complete West Shore Road and do all the services, get it disinfected, get it tested, connect the services, get it paved. Or they could choose to keep going on Emden Pond Road with the main until next year and then go back and do all services at that point. I've been asking for an updated schedule. I haven't received that yet. I suspect that's what they're wanting to do though, so they may be there next year as well doing services.
Why wasn't this put into the contract? That seems
When we
poor
control
judgment.
means and methods, we dictate or control costs. By going out to public bidding and dictating means and methods, we allow the market, we allow the contractor to develop the best possible plan. That's what they do. They build water mains. We design water mains. They operate water mains. So we allow the contractors to provide bids based on how they think they can do it most cost effectively. At which point, it's up to them to run. We make sure they're doing it according to plans and specifications. We make sure they're doing testing correctly. We make sure they're doing backfill and compaction correctly, but their schedule is basically theirs to control.
But this is a public water system, and those people that are over there don't have access to that.
What people?
People on the West Shore.
They all have access to that.
Yeah, they've got access to the old
They'll have access. They'll be connected to the new main.
sometime.
Correct.
When the project's done.
Correct, but they're still being served. They'll still have water the whole time, except probably the day it gets swapped over the new one, there'll be a slight disruption. And sometimes when we connect the new main to the old main, and when we have disruptions that we know are planned, we will get notices out to let people know when that happens. Yes, sir.
Chad, this loan you're talking about, the $6 million, is an old loan, correct? This is not new.
No, it's new. Right now, it's in a construction loan, if you will. It's called interim financing. We have not closed on the long-term loan yet. So right now, they have an interim loan from a local lender until we reach that $6 million. And then what we do is we have a closing with the USDA, and the USDA comes in and provides that $6 million to pay off the local loan, at which time you go to long-term financing. So right now, you're paying no debt service on that, none.
We haven't paid it down since 2012.
On that particular $6 million loan, this is what I'm talking about. You have paid debt service on everything except that one. And the Main Street job, I think you just paid your first payment this year, at the beginning of this year.
Yep.
Chad, can I get your last name?
Drury. Jim?
Yeah.
I'd like to address this gentleman's point, and you did make the point very nicely, and I appreciate your demeanor. With the benefit of hindsight, do I wish we collectively had done incremental increases that were more substantial? Absolutely. I think the boards that were making those decisions at the time were doing, as Dabney said, the best, what they thought was the best for the people they represent. Here we are, it's time to belly up to the bar. It is very substantial, and we understand that it is. Just so you'll know, moving forward, and Jim made this point, and I think it's very important, we're gonna try to avoid repeating this. As we retire debt service, then and only then are we gonna take that money and do additional infrastructure projects. So you're right, it's too bad we didn't do incremental increases, but we didn't, and here we are.
Okay, I got one more question, and if you'll, when this is paid off, doing this 48%, do you foresee in the near or further future another increase?
There'll be smaller increases, yes, but I think what we need to do from this point forward, assuming all we do is spend money that we already retired from debt service, all we need to do is keep up with inflation. And if you remember Jim's numbers, we weren't even keeping up with inflation. I can't remember the exact numbers, how much we were behind.
At the end of '24, you were behind about $36 in your bill.
Yeah, so if we had done nothing, if we had done no infrastructure projects, your bill would have been $36 short of paying the freight for what we just accrued in
Well, that's what brought up, that's what changed my questions when he said that you did the increases for, was it 1%, 1.5%, but you already know that you were under That's what I couldn't understand. Why would you go ahead and accept a 1.5% knowing it wasn't enough when it should have been 2 to 5 or whatever, would have covered it, would have been on top of it, and we wouldn't be in such a pickle that we are in today.
Hindsight's 20/20 and almost useless. Except using it going forward.
And again, still being controlled by what you're allowed to borrow or what you're allowed to set your rate on based on your expenses. Your only, PUC limits what they can have as a capital reserve account. And it's very restricted. You can't say, hey, we're gonna do a project in 5 years, so we're gonna go up on rates now. They don't let you do it. So we are restricted there as well, unfortunately. But yes, ma'am.
Betty Price. I'm questioning in reference to, we used to have an office here in Madison that you could actually go to and talk to people there. Now, it's in Richmond. There is no office where we can talk to individuals about our bill, pay our bill easily, and I'm just wondering why that's the case.
Which one of us?
I would say balancing cost. When the district hired Maine Rural Water to manage and operate the system, they focused on the people in town being those out in the system, operating the treatment plant, maintaining the distribution system, and they could offer a more cost-effective approach to the administration end by doing it in their office where they can balance time, other projects. I'm just guessing here, but knowing how that works, I'll let you guys expand on that, but.
And you're correct. And also, we can offer you a larger team, so you can't go in and speak to somebody, but you can call. We've given you, we share the same parking lot with Camden, who's been super gracious, and they'll take your payments there. So instead of going to the office, you go across the parking lot to Camden, make a payment. Can you chit-chat about the weather or what the neighbor's doing? Probably not anymore. And I used to work at a local, I'm not far from you. I live in a town very close to you, actually. And I would have my customers that would come in regularly, and I'd chit-chat with them, and I enjoyed it as well. But times have changed. COVID changed a lot of things back, if you remember. I know, I'm with you.
Everything on COVID.
But it started there. And it works. We offer online payments, we offer telephone payments, we offer Camden National payments, mail-in payments. I think we offer a lot more than what you used to receive by having your local office there. I mean, if you really set back, and I'd like you to really share that so we know, what are you missing from going into the office?
Well, it's just the handiness of the office itself. I'm not one that would go to a bank and make a payment or whatever.
Right.
I would go to the office and do it that way.
Yeah. So it's a change, it's change, yeah.
If you shut your water down, is there gonna be an increase in those prices? Like if you have your meter taken out, seems you're going south for the
No,
winter?
those are your terms and conditions. That's still guided by the PUC. So when it comes to rates and things, we can't do anything unless it goes to the PUC. So we can't say, I guess we'll just turn up those rates over there. When they want to turn on, we're going to charge more. No, we have to go through extensive processes like this to get it approved. Okay, those are your terms and conditions. Every 2 to 3 years, those get reviewed. Again, like I said, I know it doesn't matter to you, but I've worked at a lot of different systems. They may have a turn-on fee of $10. Again, small community, trying to keep it good for their neighbor. When you calculate it out, it's costing you $60 to send that man over to that house to do that with gas, wages. But the little communities, we can't. We can only charge 10. Is your district losing money when it does that? So again, it'll be reevaluated. I don't foresee anything right now on your terms and conditions. They look pretty solid, and it should last 2 to 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Will Price, and my question actually is, so for years, our sewer bill has basically gone right along with our water bill. So are they gonna be increasing too?
We don't know.
No, we don't know.
I can speak to that. I have had a conversation with Dale Clark, and the answer is no. They are not gonna go along with the rate increase. The rate for the sewer is going to be separate and distinct. It's still gonna be based on volume, and the rate is not going to be adjusted based on the water rates.
Okay.
The sewer rates are not gonna change based on this.
Anybody else? Oh, yes.
Emily Quint again. On this flyer that came out to us, it says about the USDA and revolving loan fund. However, additional debt was incurred. What was the additional debt?
That, the 6 million, and then
It's all.
your other 2024
SRF.
SRF, yeah.
Yeah, but that's one of the two she said, so. I'd have to see the flyer.
I don't remember now.
Is that public notice?
I don't know, I think she must be speaking
This
of
is
public.
No, it's on there, it says
Everybody.
additional debt, but it does not give what the additional debt was, it just says additional debt. So, I mean, that could be for hamburgers and hot dogs for people, and we don't know.
Yeah, it would be a loan, and you guys haven't taken out any of those loans other than the USDA and the SRF.
Right. I don't see it either.
It's in the first paragraph.
Oh,
The list.
however, the district was fortunate in obtaining grant funds from the USDA main drinking water loan, however, additional debt has incurred.
Oh, this,
As in,
this new loan.
this is the debt.
So we're saying we received grant money, however, it's not 100% covered by grant money. We incurred additional debt,
Which is the
which is the $6 million.
which has not rolled into permanent financing.
So that should have been told to us before we
It was.
accepted it?
It was. It was in public legal notices. These men don't decide to spend $6 million without putting it out to the public. It was out, nobody comes. But now, we have to pay for it because we went forward and everybody comes. So, I mean, it's kind of like buying a car and not having a job. You gotta make the payment, you know, it's here. But that, all meetings are public. They have them the third Thursday of every month. And like I said, this went out, Jim put it out by legal notice, that this project was being accepted and everything that was involved with it. Again, unfortunately, we wish people would attend. We like to hear what the community has to say, we like their involvement, but they don't come until.
When we do a project like this and we use federal funding, in the very beginning phase, we have to let the towns know. So we send a letter to each town, to the town minister, the town administrator, saying, the Anson-Madison Water District is doing this is the estimated cost, this is the estimated funding. So we let them know right away. We put advertisements in the paper for the environmental review. When the offer is made from USDA, that goes into the paper. They have to take a formal vote before doing anything. That gets recorded. There's a lot of steps where they try to involve the public.
Chase.
Go ahead.
You said a few minutes ago that PUC gets notified of everything. Do they already know about this?
They do indeed. The filing was made with the PUC prior to the hearing, yes.
Second question, do you guys have the petition?
The petition will be at each of the municipalities.
Yes, ma'am.
Betty Price again. In your meetings, did you discuss a varying degree of these increases, such maybe doing it at a third or maybe half of that, 50% of what you got proposed right now, and then the next year another, or whatever?
I got this, Jim. Betty, that was my war cry. I thought, you know, we ought to try to do this incrementally. And unfortunately, the math doesn't work. We've put this off and we've prolonged this long to the point that we really need to have this money to do the debt service properly. I was deaf against an increase this size, to the point, and we had some knockdown drag outs about depreciation.
Yeah, we did.
But nonetheless, it really has to happen. If this doesn't happen, I don't see any way other than we're gonna default on our loans, and I don't think that's an option, so.
Is there any assistance available for those who might find this increase so tragic that
That's
they might
beyond
need
my
some
pay grade. You
assistance
know
in
about that?
paying the bill?
Yeah, we put that on, if, like I said, if unfortunately, we work with folks, we just need them to call us.
Okay.
We do payment arrangements, we can do budget plans, they need to call us. Unfortunately, people wait, for whatever reason, until they get a disconnection notice, or we're knocking at their door. Anybody on a fixed income will work with you. You also have 211 you can call, your local churches will assist, your town general assistance will help, usually. So, I mean, there are avenues out there. But again, if you don't communicate, with us and say, geez, can I pay $40 a month instead of giving you, sure. But you gotta let us know you're doing it, and like I said, it needs to have that communication between the customer and us, and we'll work with you. We'll work with anybody.
All right, thank you.
We don't wanna shut anybody off. That's not, we don't want to do that.
Yes, sir.
No, fair enough. And thoroughly disagree with your statement, because I have called Maine Rural Water and asked the question of, why is it if you, say, September, October, and November, your bill is due, and you people will send out a bill saying you have to pay it within 10 days, whatever it is. If you don't, you can charge interest, but you're paying ahead for the water. How does that work?
Actually, you're paying ahead for the service and your water is 3 months behind.
That's not what the bill says.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
You're paying in advance for your service, and your rates and your consumption is from the 3 months prior. And you have to think of it kind of like, because the district bills quarterly instead of monthly, if you're paying for cable TV, you're paying for the month ahead for your service, but what you may have bought paid per view from the month before is on that bill. It's the same thing, only in a 3-month span. So water service is 3 months ahead, consumption is 3 months behind.
So how come if I call your office, I get told that they don't have an answer, and I asked to talk to Kirsten Hebert, and I was told she does not talk to people like you.
Oh my goodness,
I
I
I'll
hope
give you
not.
my cell number, you can call me.
I went to the PUC with Jen Richards, and she had no answers outside Kirsten Hebert must know what she's talking about.
There you go, Kirsten.
Wow.
You
The
can,
only-
I'll
the
give you
only-
my number as well, and her number,
Phil,
and you can call
did
either
you-
one of us.
Did you not just get your answer?
Yeah, somewhat,
Okay.
yeah.
Problem solved.
But again, I hope not one of our customer service people said that to you. I pray they didn't. But we'll take note of that and have a discussion, I'm sure, when we get, she will anyway, as soon as we get back to the office. No, and if you have a problem, like I said, I've never seen Kirsten deny a customer or speak to a customer ever, in all my years. And like I said, you can ask to speak to Kirsten or Daphne if you'd like.
I tried that, it didn't work.
We'll put some bugs in some ears to make sure that from now on you do get heard.
There you go, Phil.
Oh, she's gonna give him a card. There you go.
There you go. All my digits are on there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? This has been a really, really good informational meeting. I would really like to thank everybody for showing up, because this is a big rate increase. All 4 of us trustees are on the system. It was a very hard decision. I believe it was January 1st of '23 when USDA had asked us about this loan, $9.5 million loan. I think we had 6 meetings between then and March 31st. That's a lot of money we're talking about. The rate increase was 1.25%.
Correct.
Can you speak up,
And-
please, so that we can hear you? Please?
I can't hear you.
So I believe it was January 1st of '23 that this opportunity for this water district had a chance to get this loan. It's $9.5 million total. And we we only had till March 31st to give them an answer, because the rates were going up. As soon as if you guys don't want it, it's not a problem, but we were offering it to you right now for 1.25%. Like I said, we had 6 meetings, 3 irregular and 3, we had a vote of 6 to 1, and the one person that didn't want it had left us. And so, but it's not a very good, easy decision. 48%'s a lot of money. I get it. I'm on the system. I'm retired. I'm on SSI. But we didn't see any other alternative at the time, and that line needed to be done. That's just a prime example of what we had in the system. We as customers deserve better than that. And there were some lead jointed pieces of pipe. We needed to get rid of that. We need to make our system. There's a lot of systems out there today that would love to be in our position, what we have accomplished. And it's, so we only had 3 months to decide, and that's how we had decided what to do to move on. And, yes, sir.
So Darryl Partridge, so it sounds to me, and I'm just standing here listening, that we rushed right into that, which was a good deal, I understand, but, so the time it should have taken to notify the people was cut short, because you guys made the decision in 3 months? If I take what you just said correctly? Okay.
Darryl, I can answer that. What Randy's talking about was the package of financing for this. This project has been in progress since 2021. I came on the board in 2021, and we were starting this project, talking about this project. Dirigo had been working on it for a couple of years before that.
In 2015, the initial study
Right.
recommended the upgrade.
And so some of the engineering work and all the rest of that stuff was being done prior to 2023. 2023, they came in and said, if you're gonna do this project that we know you've been talking about, and we had been talking about, if you want the money at 1.25%, you need to make a decision by the end of March. That was when we had the 6 meetings that Randy's talking about, and we weighed, okay, we know interest rates are gonna go up. We looked at some numbers like he had on the screen here. Well, what if the interest rate goes to this? What's the interest cost gonna be? And so forth. And that was when we made the decision to go ahead. And it was truly an agonizing decision, because it was post-COVID. You know, the world was on fire in a whole lot of different ways, both physically for a lot of people and financially for a lot of people. But it was a situation where if we had waited, we would have been paying, right now we would have been paying almost twice, maybe more than twice to do it.
I understand what you're saying there, but when did the ratepayers get notified that this was gonna take place? Back in 21?
I don't know when that was.
When did
I'm
you
just trying to
notice?
find out what the
My
window
first
was.
notice to the towns probably was in 21, when we did the environmental review, which is part of any federal project, when we do the intergovernmental review portion of that.
Okay,
That was
that's-
probably the first public notice.
And that was to the town?
Correct.
Okay, well, when did the ratepayers get notified?
I would also submit that they've spoken about it at their board meetings since 21. So at every meeting, there's a line item for engineering updates and projects.
Yeah, Jim's there almost every month.
What's that?
Jim goes to almost every, he's there more than we are. No, he goes to just about every single board meeting, has been updating for years now. Again, the people are invited and notified to come. We can't.
I can't answer exactly when that public notice was put in the paper that they were accepting that offer. I can't answer that. I don't remember.
Was it ever mailed
specifically to every ratepayer?
No.
Because a lot of people don't get the newspaper anymore. A lot of people don't read it online, you gotta pay for it, I guess. I don't know, I don't do either. So, I can see where they're coming from, I'm just asking, because it sounds to me like there was a lack of communication. You know, I'm just.
Daryl, the way this works, and you've experienced it, and I have too, apathy is hard to deal with. People don't care. As long as things are going along smooth, people don't care. Will they come to the board meetings monthly? No, not unless they've got a complaint. I got a question that's kind of semi-related. I think you're in the same place I am. You've seen the inside of that pipe in the middle of the night more than once. So did you ever think, before all this is a curiosity question, sincere, did you ever think that pipe was gonna get replaced between here and Hancock in your lifetime?
To be honest with you, no.
I didn't either. I didn't see any way possible.
Do I think it's a good? Yes, I do.
It's a wonderful thing.
I'm just trying to figure out how to fix the communication gap between the two.
That's a reasonable approach. Maybe we need to send out notices to
I'm
individuals.
not here to crab or whatever, I'm just trying to fix a problem.
That's a great suggestion.
And, you know, sometimes, again, I'm the money lady, so I'm gonna think money. There's 1,700 of you, at 76 cents a pop just for postage, and that, it does add up quite a bit. To notify you about meetings and things like that. But like I said, that's why we use the
Put a
paper.
schedule in one of the billings.
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't cost any more, it's a piece of paper.
yeah, so just the third Thursday, remind people, or put it on their bill the third Thursday of every month, yeah?
I know in order to get things done, you gotta go to meetings. I've been to selectmen's meetings nonstop, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion, we could do that.
Okay.
Denise? As responsible for the town sign and the town website, if I get that schedule, I can make sure that they get put on the town sign and the town website at a minimum for the town of Madison. You'd have to do the same thing with the town of Anson. But they also have a town sign and a town website, and, you know, Facebook, whatever. You know, most people have a Facebook account, whether it's personal or business, so we could absolutely make sure of that. And the town of Madison is also using something called Text My Gov, which is a cellular text messaging system that if you text Madison ME to 91986, then you'll be listed, you'll be registered, and you will get automatic text messages when there are things that are happening that we can promote. So that's another communication tool that the town of Madison can use. And that's right on madisonmaine.com. That's right on the front page of our website.
I do think too, to answer your question, because it's been a year, trying to remember, but I do believe we mentioned also in the town books, the towns asked us to submit, and that you get a book, I guess, still.
Town report.
Town report, annual report, we have an article in there that we talked about this as well. So it's not, you know, like I
3
said.
days before the town meeting.
I mean,
But the
we were
town
trying-
meeting does not have any authority over the water district.
I think, Daryl, your point is very well taken.
Yeah.
But I don't want anybody to think these decisions get made in the smoky back room. It's all, you know, cards on the table face up. And until you get a notification of a big increase in your bill, nobody cares.
Right.
But I think you're right, maybe we need to take a look at that process.
Emily Quinn, are the meetings broadcast
No.
on television? No?
Can they be?
What?
Okay.
More money.
No, no more money. It's Channel 11.
I say they are broadcasted.
Channel 11 is videotaping this public hearing, and we'll put it on the Channel 11 YouTube page. So they can certainly, with the right staffing request, if they have the availability, they can record the meetings for the water district, the sewer district, they do the select board, they do the planning board, you know, that's absolutely a possibility.
Not a bad idea.
But it isn't currently.
It is not currently, to my knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
No, no.
Sarah Schmidt, where is that video gonna be shown?
Somerset Community TV on YouTube. The Somerset Community TV channel on YouTube.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Sue Hawley. All right, to recap, because I came in a little late. So you're asking us to pay a $6 million loan with a 48% increase over 2 years? Is that what I understood?
What do you mean over 2 years?
The loan is for 2 years?
The loan is for 40 years.
Okay, 4 years, that's fine.
40.
40.
40 years.
Correct.
Takes away my question. 40 years.
The service life of that pipe is 75 to 80 to 100 years. So we borrow over 40 years, you still have 40 years of life left in that pipe where you're not paying for it. So financially, that gives us time to spread that money out.
So you're paying the loan of $6 million over 40 years?
Correct.
At 1.5%?
1.25.
Interest?
Yep.
Is that a fixed rate?
Say again?
Is that a fixed rate?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, if we don't have any more further questions this time, we have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, we adjourn at 7:33.
Take your seat, please. We're going to reconvene.
We gotta reconvene the whole thing. Eric, you're next one.
Yep, I've got it. Okay, I'll just hold this.
I go set one. Can we, excuse me?
Can't hear you, you can't hear me.
Speak.
Okay, article number 7. Anson Madison Water District Board vote to adopt the presented rates and sign the tariff sheets.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff and seconded by Gary that we accept the, adopt the presented rates and sign the tariff sheet. Any further questions? All those in favor? That's a 4-0 vote in favor. Now we're going to adjourn. Thank you. Adjourn at,